Our next guest has been wowed by Andrew Yang, the Democratic presidential candidate who wants a universal basic income. He's admired Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard's bravery on foreign policy. She's also running for president. And he's wondered if President Trump is trying to lose the White House. Tucker Carlson, the host of Tucker Carlson Tonight, and star of all kinds of other things, best-selling author and blah, blah, blah. There's so much there.
So impressive.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
It is great to have you. I want to talk to you, because you've talked to a lot of these 2020 contenders. I want to play a little bit of your back and forth with Andrew Yang.
Yes.
Okay, and then we'll discuss.
Remarkably, the person, the political figure who is making the most sense on this subject, who has thought about it most deeply, is a Democrat who is running for president. He's Andrew Yang. He's an entrepreneur. And as we said, he's a Democratic presidential candidate. He says that artificial intelligence and expanded automation could potentially cause violence in this country and that we need to do something about it right now. I haven't heard anybody in our political conversation describe the threat as clearly and compellingly as you have. Why should we be worried about automation?
Well, if you look at the backdrop, we automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Missouri, and those communities have never recovered. Where if you look at the numbers, half of the workers left the workforce and never worked again, and then half of that group filed for disability. Now, what happened to the manufacturing workers is now going to happen to the truck drivers, retail workers, call centers, fast food workers, and on through the economy as we evolve and technology marginalizes the labor of more and more Americans.
What will be the effects of that to you? I mean, that's a massive displacement of people. What will happen once that happens?
Well, as you said, I think it's going to be disastrous, where if you look at truck drivers alone, being a trucker is the most common job in 29 states. There are 3.5 million truck drivers in this country. And my friends in Silicon Valley are working on trucks that can drive themselves because that's where the money is, where we can save tens, even hundreds of billions of dollars by trying to automate that job.
You're one of the only people I've ever met who's honest about the effects of deindustrialization. I remember in Washington, the idea was they'll all become computer programmers, and so everything is fine, but that didn't happen. My question is, do we have to sit passively back and let this happen to the country?
Well, that's why I'm running for president, Tucker, is I think it would be insane to just sit back and watch this automation wave overtake our communities and our economy. So we're not ostriches. We can get our heads up out of the sand and say, look, we get it. Artificial intelligence is real. Self-driving cars and trucks are being tested on the highways right now. And we need to evolve. We need to actually start pushing the way we think of economic progress to include how our families are doing, how our children are doing, and things that would actually matter to the American people. Because GDP is going to lead us off a cliff. You know, robot trucks, great for GDP, terrible for many, many American communities. So we need to get with the program and figure out how to actually make this economy work for people.
I sit with my jaw open. I agree with you so strongly. Let me ask you finally, why isn't this a central question in the campaign of everybody running for president on any side? And why instead are they talking about issues that really are kind of frivolous? Why aren't they talking about this?
As we're sitting here together, the labor force participation rate in the United States is 63.2%, the same level as Ecuador and Costa Rica. And if anyone thinks that's where America ought to be, I mean, that number is even going to be further challenged when all this technology comes online. So we have to make America embrace this challenge of the 21st century and then try and address it together as a people.
Last question. Shouldn't people who cite unemployment statistics be penalized for saying something so stupid?
Yeah, we have a series of bad numbers, and I referred to GDP as one. Certainly, the headline unemployment rate is completely misleading. Yes. And one of my mandates as president is I'm going to update the numbers so they actually make sense to the American people.
Yes. So we can know what's going on. Otherwise, we can't make wise decisions.
Yeah, right now, again, and you know this, our life expectancy has declined for the last 3 years, first time in 100 years because of a surge in suicides and drug overdoses. How can you say an economy is healthy when our people are dying? It makes no sense.
I literally couldn't. I don't even know what you think on the other issues, and I just support what you said so much.
But you agree with him on this point.
Well, I can't think of many more people on either side who are thinking more deeply about what the actual problems are. Automation, by every estimate, will eliminate a huge percentage of jobs in the United States at exactly the moment when we're importing millions of new people every year to fill jobs that probably won't exist 3 years from now or 10 years from now. It's lunatic, and nobody's saying anything about it other than Andrew Yang. I'm not sure why it's falling to him, but I don't care. I want somebody to tell the truth about it.
So you're worried about the jobs, not this whole AI worry that people have, like the robots are going to come eat us and kill us.
Well, I think there's no question that...
Or is that a problem too?
Oh, it's a massive problem. Of course, because anybody running a business wants to eliminate labor costs, or reduce them to the extent possible. That's the imperative of the market. There's no sin in that, but it's real, and we can't pretend otherwise. And so we often will say, we need more workers for agriculture. It's like they don't know anything about agriculture, actually. Very few parts of the ag economy aren't automated now. No, it's a completely real thing. By the way, lawyers, physicians, huge sectors of white-collar America are about to be overturned by AI, and nobody is talking about it because Russia!
The only thing I worry about is that some total unknown that nobody ever heard of comes along.
Are all y'all paying attention? Automation gonna sweep the nation unless we get him in. Andrew Yang, 2020 freedom dividend. Climate change is real again. Science rules. Teachers bringing home some bread. Medicare for every citizen. That's nice. Andrew Yang, 2020 freedom dividend.